The wealthiest people I studied when I left investment banking all had one thing in common. They carried debt. On purpose. Often a lot of it. And the instinct most of us were taught, pay it off as fast as humanly possible, is quietly the thing keeping a lot of people from ever building real wealth. This isn't a video about whether debt is good or bad. It's about why the exact same loan produces two completely different outcomes depending on how it's used. Once you see this distinction, you can't unsee it. 1. There are only two kinds of debt, and most people never learn to tell them apart. Consumer debt buys things that lose value the moment you buy them. Credit cards, car loans, buy now pay, later on a wardrobe. You pay interest, and the thing you bought is worth less by the time it's paid off. Pure cost, no return. Productive debt buys things that make you money. A rental property, a business loan that grows revenue, a degree with a clear income path. It still costs you interest, but the asset it buys pays that cost back, and then some. The wealthy aren't fearless with debt. They're just precise about which category it falls into. Most people treat every debt the same. That's where the gap starts. Try this. List every debt you are carrying. Next to each one, write what it bought. Consumer or productive? That one exercise will change how you decide what to pay off first. 2. Your mortgage isn't a burden. It might be your biggest lever. Pay it off early. Kill the debt. Own the house outright. That's the instinct. And for the home you live in, it's an understandable one. But Robert Kiyosaki drew a sharp line in Rich Dad, Poor Dad. A home you live in is a liability. It costs you money every month. A rental property is different. The tenant's rent pays the mortgage while the asset appreciates underneath them. You're using the bank's money to buy something that pays for itself. Here's the math that changed my mind on this. A 6% mortgage on a property appreciating 7 to 8% a year, generating rental income on top. That debt isn't working against you. It's working for you. Before your next extra mortgage payment, do this instead. Calculate your real after-tax interest rate. Then compare it honestly to what that same money would earn in an index fund. Investing won't always win, but make it a calculation, not a reflex. 3. Paying off cheap debt fast might be costing you more than it's saving you. This is the one that gets arguments in the comments, and I get why. Being debt-free feels like safety. It is safety in a psychological sense. But here's the number nobody runs. The S&P 500 has averaged roughly 10% a year for decades. If you're aggressively paying down a 3.5% mortgage instead of investing that cash, you're giving up a 6.5% annual gap. Compounded over 20 or 30 years, that gap is the difference between comfortable and wealthy. My personal cutoff, anything above 7% interest, I attack aggressively. Below 7%, I let it ride and invest the difference instead. Your number might be different. The point is having a number instead of treating every debt like an emergency. 4. The business owners who get rich use debt as fuel, not as a last resort. Most people avoid business debt for the same reason they avoid personal debt. But business owners who actually build wealth use it deliberately to hire, to stock inventory, to market. Anywhere the return is measurable. The difference is simple. Borrowing $50,000 to cover a shortfall is dangerous. Borrowing $50,000 to hire someone who brings in $200,000 is math, not risk. If you've got any side income or a small business, this is worth taking seriously, not dismissing on reflex. 5. Forget snowball versus avalanche. Here's what wealthy people actually do. You've heard the debate, highest interest first or smallest balance first, both work. But wealthy people skip the debate entirely. They clear all consumer debt using whichever method keeps them moving, then stop thinking about debt reduction altogether and start thinking about asset acquisition. Different game, different mindset. 6. Forget your debt balance. This is the number that actually matters. Most people watch their debt balance drop and call that progress. Wealthy people watch something else, what their assets generate versus what their debt costs. $500,000 in mortgage debt on a property earning $40,000 a year in rent is a stronger position than $30,000 in credit card debt with nothing generating income, even though it's 10 times smaller on paper. It's not about how much debt you carry, it's about what it's attached to. Net worth, assets minus liabilities, is the only scoreboard that counts. 7. Debt-free isn't the finish line. It might be the wall stopping your progress. For anyone drowning in high-interest debt, getting out is genuinely life-changing. I'm not taking that away from anyone. But once your consumer debt is gone, treating a 3% mortgage like a crisis or refusing a business loan that would grow your income, that's not caution anymore. That's a ceiling dressed up as a virtue. I had to unlearn this myself. The instinct to eliminate every obligation is wired deep, especially if you have ever struggled financially. But the goal was never zero debt. The goal is net worth. Those aren't always the same thing. Ask yourself, is your relationship with debt based on the math of your actual situation, or a general idea of what responsible is supposed to look like? Only one of those builds. Wealth. Debt isn't the enemy. Debt spent on consumption is. Debt spent on acquisition, assets, income, appreciating positions is one of the most powerful tools wealth is actually built with. The instinct to erase it fast comes from a good place, but it's built to avoid loss, not to build position. Run either one for 20 years and you get two very different lives. Which of these hits closest to home? Your mortgage, a business loan, or a debt you've been afraid to touch? Tell me below. I'm building the next video around whatever comes up most.